Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Bemani Lounge Duels IRL. I'll be your commentator for this episode. I go by the name of Darnell. I'm the creative director for Bemani Lounge. And here we have Pure Orcust, piloted by John of Team Plus Guys, versus Danger Orcust, piloted by Cruz of PNC Mammals. John is starting off activating Orchestrated Return, sending the Brass to Grave to get himself 2 new cards. Now let's see how this progresses. We have a set 1, set 2, and a set 3. And a pass turn from John. Must not be the strongest of hands. So let's see how Cruz progresses. We have a Dark Grepher coming down. The summon is fine. As Cruz goes to activate the effect, sending Orcust Nightmare, but it is immediately met with an imperm from John. So let's see how... Ooh, followed up by a Call by the Grave, banishing the Orcust Nightmare before Cruz has a chance to use it. So we have a set 1 from Cruz, a set 2. Are we having another pass turn? As he takes a second to contemplate. Cruz just checking to see which column Imperm was activated in. And looks like we have a Danger reveal from hand. Danger Tsuchinoko. So let's see if John hits the snake or not. And... oof, and it looks like he hit a Harp Horror. So Snake is going to special to field as Harp Horror gets sent to grave. John is going to get himself to draw, Cruz, I'm sorry, he's going to get to draw 1 card. So now he banishes the Harp Horror from grave in order to most likely special the Skeleton from deck. Yep. And it looks like Cruz is totally in the pilot seat of this matchup so far, with John not having much setup in grave, and I'm not too sure what his back row is, but let's see how this progresses. As Cruz checks his back row, and we have a Foolish Burial coming down. Now let's see what he dumps to grave, dumping the Wand. So looks like Cruz has plenty of plays right now. John cuts his deck and passes back. Now we have an activation of the Wand, which is going to special Harp Horror from grave, and a declaration of battle phase. Snake swinging in, followed by the Skeleton, and it looks like John is taking all of it. Main phase 2, and it looks like we have a Link Summon coming down, obviously for the Galatea. Yep. Danger Snake and Harp Horror being sent away. Galatea's effect being activated to shuffle Orcust Nightmare back, but it's immediately met with John's final back row, which was another Imperm. So, oof, now we have an Instant Fusion being activated on Cruz's side. So he's going to pay his cost of 1,000 life points in order to bring out Shadal Winda. And we have Din Girsu coming down on top of the Galatea, activating its effect to attach Wand from the Banish. And on end phase, Din Girsu's gonna send the Wand to grave in order to protect Winda. So with Winda on board, John is restricted to just 1 special summon per turn. So we have a Foolish Burial coming down on John's end, dumping what looks like the Skeleton to grave. Remember, he's only allowed 1 summon as long as Winda's on board. So we have a set 1 and an activation of Babel and a pass turn from John. Not much he could do apparently. Winda's kind of a little mini lockout to him right now. So we have on John's end phase, we have Din Girsu protecting the window 1 more time by sending the Galatea to grave. As Cruz goes to activate Mind Control, and it looks like John has seen enough and has decided to scoop it up and go to game 2. Game 2, ladies and gentlemen. Not much John could have done, I guess, that turn. Cruz was in total control of that matchup. But let's see how game 2 works out for him. So side deck is in effect right now, and it looks like John has let Cruz go first. So we have an Armageddon Knight coming down. Let's see what he dumps to grave. Most likely going for the Harp Horror. Yep, classic Orcust plays, no matter what variant you play. So the Harp Horror is going to banish itself, most likely to summon the Skeleton from deck. And it looks like John doesn't have much response to any of this. So Harp Horror is going to bring out the Orcust Nightmare. I'm betting John let him go second, hoping to be able to break his board. But we have Galatea coming down, shuffling back to Harp Horror. That's going to get himself a Orcust spell or trap from deck, and he's chosen the Babel, which he's going to set in the field zone. So looks like Cruz is in full control here as he banishes the Orcust Nightmare. That's going to let him descend Skeleton the Grave, and at the same time boosting Galatea's attack by 300. So we have a set 1 from Cruz and a set 2 and a reveal of a Danger Schneck being revealed. So let's see if John hits the snake as he chooses, and ooh, looks like it was an Orchestrated Nightmare. That's going to get sent to grave. Snake's going to special himself, and Cruz is going to draw 1 card. And we have Babel being activated as Cruz checks his back row and checks his grave, contemplating what his next play is going to be. And we have a Dingirsu coming down, activating its effect to attach the Orchestrated Nightmare from the banish pile. And both Dingirsu, its material, and the snake are being sent away. Let's see what he goes for. And IP Masquerena coming down. Oof. So that'll give Cruz a disruption on John's turn, most likely for the Unicorn play. But as Cruz attempts to end his main phase, John activates Gizmek Orochi from hand, banishing the top 8 from his deck to special itself to field. So in end phase, Cruz is going to activate Orcust Nightmare's effect. Remember, they are quick effects now that Babel's on the field. And the Symbol Skeleton is going to... Sorry, I meant Symbol Skeleton. Symbol Skeleton is going to special Galatea from grave. And we have a pass turn. So let's see if John can play through this. He's got 1 disruption, most likely from the IP Masquerena, 2 back row to deal with, and a somewhat stacked graveyard in with Cruz's Orcust effects being quick effects from grave. So we have the Orcust Brass being summoned to John's side of the field. Let's see if Cruz has a response. So he's going to chain Galatea's effect to shuffle back his banished Orcust. And he's choosing not to set anything, just to shuffle it back. He does have that option. It is optional. So looks like we have a Link summon coming down as the Brass is being sent away on John's side in order to bring out Link Karibo. And he's activating his effect, banishing it in order to special an Orcust from hand. But it looks like Cruz has a response, and it is met with a crescendo that's going to negate Brass's effect. Negate and banish, but it's already banished. So Gizmek and Link Karibo are being sent away. Let's see what John goes for. And we have a Barricade board blocker coming down. He's going to activate its effect. So on summon, it allows him to discard 1 card, and on end phase, he'll be able to add, I believe, a continuous or field spell from his graveyard back to hand, I believe. So he's going to send Harp Horror from hand to grave in order to activate the effect. Cruz just verifying what's happening here, and it looks like he's letting it go as John attempts to enter battle phase. So board blocker's going to attack into Masquerena, and looks like Cruz is chaining Orchestrated Nightmare from grave in order to banish itself, targeting the Masquerena, sending Skeleton to grave to pump up Masquerena by an extra 300 points. So board blocker is going to crash into a monster that's 100 points stronger than him now. As John just checks Cruz's graveyard real quick. Looks like John is definitely having some difficulty cracking Cruz's board. So the Harp Horror is being banished now in order to special himself an Orcust from deck. And he's going for an Orcust Nightmare. Cruz just seeing if he has anything to activate. And he is activating IP's effect, sending itself and Galatea to grave in order to bring out a Unicorn on John's turn. discarding Danger Nessie in order to shuffle back John's Orchestrated Nightmare. Now Nessie's effect is going to activate in order to get himself a Tsushinoko. The Danger Engine working really well in this Orcust build of Cruz. So now it looks like we have Cruz is activating the effect of Orchestrated Symbols. And there's a bit of confusion. John thinking he's already activated that effect, but that was prior Cruz's turn. That was Cruz's last turn where that was activated. This is still John's turn, so it is a legal play. So the skeleton is going to bring back Dingirsu. Dingirsu's effect is going to activate, reattaching the skeleton to itself. And as we enter Cruz's draw and standby phase, entering main phase. Let's see what his next plays are. And we have a Danger revealed. Didn't get a good look at which one it was. Let's see. And oof. Hitting a Harp Horror, which is going to special another snake to the field. And that's going to get Cruz a draw as he banishes Harp Horror. Most likely going for an Orchestrated Nightmare. Ooh, and it looks like Cruz has no targets, so he cannot activate the effect of Harp Horror. As Cruz checks his extra deck, and it looks like he's sending the Dingirsu and the Danger Snake to grave in order to bring out another Galatea. Galatea's effect is going to shuffle back to Orcust Nightmare. And now he's going to banish the Harp Horror in order to special summon the Nightmare. I'm sure he just shuffled back. And this is not looking too good for John right now, as Unicorn, Galatea, and the Nightmare are being sent away for the closer. And we have Borosaur coming down, ladies and gentlemen. In an attempt to enter battle phase, as Cruz activates his Orchestrated Symbols from grave. Let's see what he brings back. Specialing the Dingirsu back from grave, activating its effect in order to attach the skeleton back to itself. Now Dingirsu swinging in first for 2600 damage. Now Borosaur attempting to swing in, but John has a response as he brings back Gizmek from grave in order to block Borosaur's attack by banishing the top 8 from his deck. But I don't think that's going to make too much of a difference. It looks like Cruz definitely has enough to close this out. So Borosaur swinging into Gizmek, sending it back to grave, and then activating its effect, switching Dingirsu to defense mode in order to be able to attack again. Orchestrated Nightmare is activating its effect in order to banish itself, targeting Borosaur, and send a monster from deck to grave. Cruz has sent Gizmek, which is going to boost Borosaur's attack by 800, and it looks like John has seen enough. Congratulations to Cruz for winning this with a decisive 2-0 victory. Thank you guys for watching. We'll catch you guys in the next video. Be sure to check out one of our online tournaments if you're interested in signing up. And yeah, as always, enjoy your time in the lounge.